President Trump reaching across the aisle after Congress fails to pass any major legislation during his presidency so far. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi are back in the game, claiming a deal is in the works on DACA, but some lawmakers are skeptical. Here to weigh in, Kevin Sheridan, who formerly served as a top advisor to then vice presidential nominee Paul Ryan, who is now the Speaker of the House, and Al Motter, who served on Hillary Clinton's national finance team. There's a lot I want to get to, gentlemen, but I do want to start with this. What is so wrong with the president having conversations with Democrats? I'll start with you, Al.
Sure, I'm for it. I mean, great things can happen when people work together. Ronald Reagan passed tax cuts with the Democrats. Bill Clinton balanced budgets with the Republicans. So when parties work together, that may not be what the bases want. They get angry, but I think you can get a lot done.
You talk about the bases, Kevin. We've heard from both sides. There are some who are quite critical. Maybe the leverage is gone. I mean, why critical?
Yeah, that leverage point would be the criticism. You don't want to start a negotiation from a place of weakness and to give away the DACA, to make some sort of permanent, amnesty for these people would take a big leverage point off the table for the president. So that's where the criticism is. But look, he runs a wildcat offense. He can go either way. He's got options here, but he's going to have to get a majority of the Republican caucus to agree on anything he does on immigration. So this isn't a real deal yet. It's a discussion only at this point.
Can he get immigration done without Democrats?
I doubt it. I think the Republican Party is not unified enough to do that. But we'll have to see. I don't.
Okay, that sort of brings me to my next point that I want to bring up, because there's a couple headlines that we can talk about this week, but what we saw opposing viewpoints on the future of health care. One of them was from Bernie Sanders. The other was from a number of Republican senators. Very different. Very, very different. And to me, for a voter, it looks like both parties are fractured even more than I had thought. Because as soon as we heard Bernie Sanders' platform, we heard Nancy Pelosi say, no, that's not what we're talking about. So I want to ask you, Al, how does he work this landscape? I mean, we're talking about two parties perhaps fractured into four.
Well, I think Senator Sanders isn't necessarily going to be trying to work the landscape as much as push his agenda. He's always had a very left agenda that's never ultimately been enacted. And
he's got 15 senators who support him.
15 is nowhere near a 50. Okay. And, I mean, he always pushes the envelope, and he's doing it again. What's interesting is that so many senators signed on to his bill who are considering, potentially contemplating running for president. I think that suggests where the left base is. But I don't believe from a policy perspective, and Pelosi reflects this, that it's really a good idea. You can't tell 150+ million Americans that they're going to lose their employer-provided health insurance. Let's take care of the 25 million who don't have health insurance, right, but let's not punish everybody else.
It's only a can of worms.
The mainstream position of the 2020 Democratic field has become a $32 trillion over 10-year tax increase on the American people and taking away employer-based health insurance and nationalizing the entire health care system.
Do you think that we're going to see?
Every single one of them. Elizabeth Warren, all of them. Unless 2018, 2020, I think it will become the Democrats' mainstream position on health care. And that is, to be clear, that's repeal and replace Obamacare and replace it with European-style socialized medicine. That is not a mainstream position in this country, but it's become the mainstream position of the Democratic Party. And I think that bodes very, very well for Republicans who have not had, a lot of successes, but they're still running against Democrats.
The real shame here is that the Democrats, for once in a long time, finally had the upper hand on health care, right? They thought that people thought that Trump was the bad guy trying to take it away. Democrats are the ones protecting it. And now we're proposing, as Kevin points out, or at least a lot of people are proposing, something that is too costly and screws a lot of people's health insurance if they have an employer-provided plan,
bankrupt
and is too far.
I know, we've been spending the better half of the show talking about tax cuts and tax reform, and now we're thinking about proposing the largest tax increase in American history. Is that something that's feasible?
It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
But okay. It will be every single Democrat who's running for president's platform on health care.
There'll be 3 or 4 who won't be for it, and they'll try to distinguish themselves in the middle.
Okay, my last question is on the other side of the aisle. We saw a number of GOP senators propose what Senator Rand Paul would say is Obamacare light. Is that going to go anywhere?
Is Obamacare light going to go anywhere? No, I don't think there's a lot of appeal for Obamacare light or Obamacare in general. But Republicans dropped the ball on this when they didn't pass it through the Senate and keep the discussion going. They lost by 1 vote, and that's unfortunate. And now we have a lot of bad options. And, possibly, this can come back, I think, before the end of the Congress. It's not going to happen before the end of this year, but before the end of this Congress.
You think so? Al, you think it's going to have a shot?
Not really. Where are they going to get the votes? McCain, Collins, Murkowski, they're not for that.
We heard heard Senator Cassidy say that he had up to 49, but we don't know that. So
That's not 50.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Always a lively discussion. Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Florida's agricultural economy is the country's second largest, and it took a major hit from Hurricane Irma. Coming up, what that means for your wallet and, of course, your grocery cart, too. And this didn't go according to plan. A special guest drops in on college football fans, uninvited. We'll explain coming up.